one flick of the stick, a man's hockey career may be ended. His vision impaired, his future hopes dashed. High sticking causes injuries, many of them serious, and the NHL is concerned. Watch for more visors in the league. Watch for a crackdown on the stick swingers. According to Rule 58A, the carrying of sticks above the normal height of the shoulder is prohibited, and a minor or major penalty may be imposed on a player violating this rule at the discretion of the referee. 58C, when a player carries or holds any part of his stick above the height of his shoulder so that injury to the face or head of an opposing player results, the referee shall have no alternative but to impose a major penalty on the offending player. But Rule 58 is often ignored. Last Saturday night, the Leafs' Russ Courtnall took a stick in the eye. Accident or not, there's supposed to be a major penalty on the play. Coach Dan Maloney says, why not? Same night in Boston, 2 more high sticks. Ray Bourque goes down. No penalty on the play. Charlie Simmer's injury was more serious, struck in the eye by a high stick. He's just out of hospital. Fortunately, no permanent damage to the eye, but again, no penalty. Whatever happened to Rule 58?
What happens here, I think, is that the referees sometimes shirk their responsibilities. They see it happen, they think it's accidental. Maybe it is accidental, and most times it is. They turn away from it for fear that they may have to call a match penalty and throw the player out of the game. In effect, that's what happened to Charlie Simmer in Boston the other night. The referee, from what we can tell from the tapes, knew exactly what was happening, but was reluctant to call it, shirked his responsibility.
There have been several incidents lately where players have been injured with high sticks, and yet no penalties were called.
There's only been one, and that was the Simmer case, and it was with Orlando, and it was unfortunately was undetected by everybody concerned. A lot of people didn't even see that. I think a lot of the players didn't see that. It was just one of those freakish things that happened, and unfortunately nobody saw it to make a judgment on it.
Over the years, eye specialist Dr. Tom Pashby has treated an alarming number of players who've lost their vision to hockey injuries.
And I've got a list, I guess, of 21 careers ended from eye injuries in the NHL. And another 17 who have been injured, lost time, but have got back clean.
I cut a nerve in my right above the eye, and I couldn't feel. I lost all the feeling in there, and I thought that I had lost my eye for sure. It felt like mush, and the blood was coming out quite quickly, and I just thought that right away that I was done, that I didn't have an eye, and I was really scared. And the first thing I asked the doctor was, when he opened my eye, was it okay, because I couldn't see it first because of all the blood.
Hockey men feel there are 2 main reasons for the increase in facial injuries caused by high sticking.
And I think that college players and some junior players who have been subjected to wearing these things all their young careers come into the National Hockey League without being aware of what the consequences are of carrying the sticks high.
Oh, I think the rules are there, Brian. I think what they have to do is enforce them. I know in amateur hockey they say now that the sticks are up because they feel they can't hurt someone. And then they carry it over into the NHL, but we got to learn to play hockey with the stick down, I would say. I mean, that's something that's an educational thing.
I think it's just an attitude problem. It's been something that players have been, I don't know if they've been taught or whether they're just careless in their play, but the game is to be played with the puck on the ice, and that's where the stick should be. But for some reason or another, it's just not happening that way.
Well, you never want to get on the referees' backs and tell them they're not doing their job, but they're going to have to. They're going to have to go to a point where they almost exaggerate the calls so that players realize that, hey, this is a serious deal, and that they keep the sticks down. Otherwise, it's going to go on, and there's going to be more players hurt seriously.
When will the sticks come down? Certainly not until there's a stricter enforcement of Rule 58. And not until there's an attitude change among the players. If the sticks don't come down, the league could make visors mandatory. Meanwhile, some stars are covering up voluntarily.
I'm going to wear one. I got clipped very close to the eyes 5 times last year, and then again this year once where I got a few stitches, and I think it's just too many close calls, and I just don't want to have to end a career because of an eye injury, or go through the rest of my life with one eye.
while others continue to take their chances.
Well, as of right now, I'm not going to try the visor. I do recommend it to kids, and I recommend it to the youngsters, but as far as I'm concerned, I won't put one on right now.
If and when all NHLers wear visors, high sticking will not be the problem it is now. But as serious injuries continue to occur, something must be done to keep the sticks down.
If his stick comes up and causes injury to a head or face, I can only speak for myself, and I'm sure I'm speaking for all the other fellows as well, but it's a penalty.
Have you had any direction from the league, based on the injuries that have occurred, to look for high sticks to call more penalties?
No, not at all. However, we have a seminar every year. We all get together and we review the first half of the season, and we're meeting this coming week in Toronto on Monday and Tuesday, and perhaps it'll be brought up then regarding the various injuries that have happened the last month or so.
When you read the rule, it says that you shall have no alternative but to call a penalty if you see an injury occurring because of a high stick. Do you interpret it that literally?
Well, yeah, the stick is a follow-through on a shot. The player heads down, he shoots the puck, and the attacking player who comes to check him runs into the stick. We look at that perhaps a little differently than if the man's coming to check a man and the man being checked raises a stick and put it up in a man's face. So there is some variation there, but if like I said earlier, the player must be responsible for his stick, and he has to control it.
And I'm sure you agree that there is some responsibility on the part of the referee, but what about the coaches and the players themselves? I mean, is it a shared responsibility that everybody must concern themselves with?
I would think so, but over the years that I've been involved in the hockey, I've noticed that the fellows coming in have played junior hockey with their protective equipment, and perhaps they're just a little less respective or responsible for their stick, and it's now come into our level of hockey.
Thank you. Andy Van Hellemond, tonight's referee. John, first let's establish how serious a problem you think this is. Injuries to the face, the eyes, because of high sticks.
Well, when you see guys getting 30 stitches to the eyes, you see 5 guys in one night with eye injuries, it is serious. And in the old days when they kept their sticks down, you'd see 5 eye injuries a season.
Now, you would surely not suggest that helmets be taken off to bring the sticks down. This logic has always escaped me, and visors would appear to be becoming a way of life, too. So would you think, then, that after everybody is well protected, that the sticks can come up and we shouldn't worry about it, or should there still be an effort to keep the sticks down?
Well, I hate to, everybody's blaming the referees, and I really don't blame them. They call them, they're told how to call it, and if they had, every time they brought their sticks up, there'd be 5-minute majors is gone. When I was coaching, I remember I used to call them over, a guy would be bleeding from a high stick, and they'd say, no penalty. I don't blame them if they're told to do it, and they get all the teams together and say, now we're going to do this. From this day on, that's the way to do it, and there'll still be high sticks.
Well, hockey's famous for changing the rules without ever changing the rules in the book.
I know. You read it in the book. It says even if you bring your stick up, you're supposed to get a penalty. But let's face it, Dave, the game would be 5 hours long.
Didn't Doc Pashby make the most logical statement of all? The rules are there. Enforce them. It makes life so simple.
I know. It's easy to say. I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to start teach them about this age. You talk to the coaches now. These kids from this all the way up in junior, no fear at all the sticks. No fear at all. In fact, I see them after they score a game, they take the sticks and tap the kid on the head. It's starting here. There's where we've got to start. It's tough telling a guy 30 years old to keep his stick down. I'll tell you, I don't know what the solution is. It's a tough one to go.
But the game is played better that way. The puck is down there. The stick has to be down there to shoot the puck. And why wouldn't coaches be telling people to keep their sticks down?
Okay, you see a guy now. They say, why isn't there body check? And you see a guy now, when you go to get body checked now, the first thing he does is bring up a stick and hide
if the first thing the referee did was whistle a penalty, the stick wouldn't be up as much.
It's true, but the game would be 5 hours long. It's a tough situation. I'm not blaming the referees. It's got out of hand, Dave, and you and I talked about this a long time ago. To start bringing in the helmets and start bringing in the visors, the sticks are going to be up. It's a way of life now, and the visors are here and the helmets are here, but it's a way of life, and it's not going to get any better.
I've heard the people who promote or at least condone fighting, and perhaps you're one of them, suggest that fighting is great. It's an outlet because as long as you can fight, the high sticking will be less. Suddenly, we're seeing just as much fighting and much more high sticking than even you imagine.
Well, wait a minute. This game is a tough game. You plays your games, you takes your chance. My mother said...
So is fencing, Don, and you don't want the helmet.
Doesn't matter. They had fencing to start with. The thing is, it's a tough game. You send your kid out to get a loaf of bread, he takes a chance. I'm telling you, this is a tough game. Let's not turn it into tiddlywinks. What's next? A suit of armor. I don't know what the solution is, but I told you a couple of years ago that it was going to start.
You send your kid out, you want him protected as well as possible.
Yes.
No matter what he's set out to do.
That's true. But you take your chances in this game. This is a tough game. Take your chances to play this game. This is a tough game, and
and the game should be played with the sticks on the ice.
No way. Sticks should be on the ice. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's end an
agreement. All right. Start here. Sticks on the ice, kids, and it'll be a better game.
Live on CBC, this is Hockey Night in Canada.